Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Haunted America. On today's episode, we have a story sent in to us by a listener who wishes to remain anonymous. The story is titled The Wendigo on 2 Mile Mountain. After that, we have a story of somebody seeing something moving towards them out the corner of their eye. And then finally, we'll end it with a story of somebody seeing their first ever apparition. All that plus our thoughts and comments on today's episode of Haunted America. Before we get into it, I would just like to tell you guys that if you have a story that you would like sent in and shared on the podcast, you can send in that story by emailing us at hauntedamericapodcast@gmail.com. That's hauntedamericapodcast@gmail.com. Now, let's get into the story. Alright, let's get into it. This first story, like I said in the intro, was sent in to us by somebody who listens to the show that wishes to remain anonymous. And the story is titled The Wendigo on 2 Mile Mountain. I was with my buddy and his girlfriend in the small town of Malad, Idaho in late December. We decided to drive up a mountain the locals call 2 Mile and have a bonfire. It was somewhere between 9:30 and 11 o'clock at night. As soon as we got up there, something just felt off. It was a lot colder than it usually was when we'd gone up there before, and I just had this gut feeling that something was watching us. So I told my buddy, and he said he was feeling the same way. That's when we heard a rustling sound up in the trees. It sounded like something big, way too big to be any of the animals that usually roam around there. We didn't waste any time. We packed up all of our stuff, put the fire out, and started heading back down the mountain. As we were driving down, I turned around and looked out the back window, and I could not believe my eyes. Something was following us. It had abnormally long legs and arms, matted fur, and the skull of a deer for a head. Its teeth were razor sharp, and it had long claws that scraped against the ground as it ran. I told my buddy to drive faster, and he asked me why, so I told him to turn around and look behind us. The moment he did, his eyes nearly popped out of his skull. He slammed on the gas, and we were flying down that little dirt road at 70, almost 80 miles an hour. But the creature just kept its pace with us. Thankfully, we made it down safely. But as we turned to go under the highway overpass, the thing stopped right in the middle of the road. Its red glowing eyes stared straight into my soul. A couple of days later, I looked up what I might have seen, and everything I read pointed to one thing: a Wendigo. Safe to say, that was the last time we ever went up that mountain at night. So for those that don't know, I looked up what a Wendigo is, and I'm just going to read you here what it says. A Wendigo is a creature from Native American folklore, particularly among the Algonquin-speaking tribes of the Great Lakes region. It embodies an insatiable greed and cannibalism. Legend describes it as a giant or an evil spirit that hungers for human flesh. Think about that. This thing, whatever it was chasing after them, trying to eat them. It is, I guess it's very good your friend can drive down dirt roads at 70, 80 miles an hour without losing control of the car, because I would not have wanted to be you guys if you would have slowed down at all or spun out and got caught by this thing. Let's get into the next story. Alright, before we dive back into tonight's haunted tale, I've got to tell you something that actually keeps me going through all these late night investigations, and that's Dubby energy. Look, when you're up at 2 a.m. reviewing EVP recordings or scrolling through ghost footage, the last thing you need is a sugar crash or shaky hands. Dubby gives you clean, focused energy No jitters, no crash, and definitely no creepy side effects. It's packed with natural caffeine, vitamins, and nootropics. Everything you need to stay alert when the shadows start to move. And if you want to try it yourself, here's a little treat, or maybe a trick. Head to w.gg. Use the code HAUNT10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. That's HAUNT10 to get 10% off and keep your energy level higher than your EMF readings. W Energy, fuel your focus, and maybe your next ghost hunt. So into the next story here. These next two are going to be a tad bit shorter. This one is titled, Saw Something in the Corner of My Eye Moving Towards Me. So I'm babysitting my nephew who has been getting out of his bed every night because he sees a quote-unquote ghost, as he describes it to be a tall man who shakes his bed and tries to get on his bed. My sister moved his bed and is still not sleeping in there. He says it chases him to his sister's room, or to my sister's room. Also, they just built this house a year ago. It's brand new, and they lived in a smaller house next door to the property. So today I'm in the basement with my nephew looking at my phone when all of a sudden I see a man, shadow, silhouette walking towards me. I instantly yelled, "Oh my God," because I thought it was my brother-in-law coming home. Nope. I turned and there was nothing there. I instantly froze and brought my nephew upstairs. It was so strange because the shadow in the corner of my eye was walking or moving towards me. Am I crazy? Is this paranormal? Should I be scared? So, it could be your mind playing tricks on you if you already had this in your head that there was some sort of spirit walking around this house. But it is also very possible, that you did see a spirit. Kids, often, younger children are said to be able to see things a little more clearer than we are as adults at times. So it's not out of the question that you did see a spirit, but at the same time, sit back, think, is your mind playing tricks on you? A lot of us see things out of the corner of our eyes that are not actually there. It's just your peripheral vision playing tricks on you. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think. Did this person see a spirit? Did they not? What do you guys think? Let's get right into the last story. This last story is the first time I saw an apparition, sent into us by Desi Marie. When I was younger, I lived in a house that is split into an upstairs and downstairs apartment. My grandma is the landlord and lives in the upstairs apartment, and my parents, 2 sisters, and I lived in the downstairs one. We moved out when I was in 3rd grade. While we lived there, we had a lot of paranormal experiences, and there is one that I will never forget. My older sister, who was 6 at the time, and me, who was 5, were playing games in the middle of the night. We liked to pretend we were spies while everyone else was sleeping. My childhood. Little flashback. Okay, back to the story. We were in the living room, and both of us at the same time looked into the dining room and saw a little girl wearing a white night gown. It looked like it could have been something from the early 1900s. She had long brown hair and was very pale and had a glow around her. She was just sitting under the dining room table staring at us. We were both immediately terrified and ran into our parents' room and stayed there the rest of the night. I'm now 21 and my sister is 22, and we both remember exactly what she looked like and how it felt seeing her. My family and I have so many crazy stories from that house, but I can't find any history on it. In about a year or so, I will be moving back into that apartment on my own, so I'm really nervous about that. All right. To me, this sounds like maybe the little girl might have been around your guys' age. If she was able to sit kind of under that dining room table, she might have just been wanting to join in on the fun. She might have seen you guys playing, and felt a little left out. And that's why she decided to give her energy to you guys to be able to show herself. That's what I think. If you're really nervous about it, I would get in contact with any local investigators you guys might have in your area. See if they might want to come and do a little bit of investigation. Maybe get in contact with this little girl spirit. It'd be nice if you could. I know you said you can't find any history on the house, but maybe it was built on some sort of burial plot or something. I know, like, that just sounds kind of stupid to say, because a lot of people end up saying that kind of thing, but you never know, especially because I believe you said you were let me see, lived in an apartment next door to this one first, and then you guys moved in there or something. And it doesn't seem like you had any experiences in the previous place. I don't know, maybe something's just attached to that building. But if you're really nervous about it, I would get a hold of a local investigation team or something like that, and have them come and check it out and see if they can get any answers for you. Let me know what you guys think about any of today's stories down in the comments down below if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify. So that is going to do it for today's episode of Haunted America. I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. If you can, leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Pocket Cast, wherever you guys listen to us. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you guys have any story that you would like sent into the podcast and have shared with everyone else listening, you can send us that story by emailing us at hauntedamericapodcast@gmail.com. That's hauntedamericapodcast@gmail.com. Until later, I am your host, Dalton Taylor, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Haunted America.